Good morning, Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. Well, the bailout bill has been agreed upon, so to speak. I've been saying for the last 3 years they're going to need about $20 trillion. This is $2 trillion, not even close to enough. So they'll be coming back for more in April. What I think this is just a little bit of a bump to get them through 3 to 4 weeks, as far as I can tell, which puts the middle of April as a key decision point, both on the virus spread, the economy restart, and another $18 trillion revamp of the economy. But good news for the criminals, they got their $500 billion, which they'll leverage to $5 trillion. That's the behind the scenes money. Remember when the final accounting was done in 2008, it came out to about $29 trillion that was needed for 2 years to convince the world that we turned a corner and everything was fine. So this time they'll probably give out 20 trillion and then they'll lever it up to probably 200 trillion to get it going for a couple years if it does happen that way. I do not think it will. I think there'll be decisions made in April. And if you follow back, basically my timeline is back on track. I thought it was all happening too fast. This is delaying it for a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, which is right in line with the timeline, which is cool. Not that I take joy in any of this. As a matter of fact, I know the dread that's coming. No, we're never going back to the old world, ever. So anybody thinking, oh, I can't wait for my stock to go up. I can't wait for, to go out for dinner again and all that. Those days are long gone, my friends. So you are in year zero. It's going to get crazier. You're going to have to go with the flow and be a dynamic participant, meaning you need to change. You need to change. No longer can you rely on your government for everything. The nanny state is gone. That will be proven after this runs out in less than a month. So just hang on tight. But let's take a look at it. Legislation to provide direct financial checks to many Americans. Expand. Now, how long is it? $1,200 going to last you? That's how much each individual gets who makes under $75,000. So if you make over $75,000, you don't get shit. But how long will $1,200 last? Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe. For most people. So this is clearly a very short-term game right now. But this guy right on the left, Steve Mnuchin, is really happy. Why? Because he gets to restock the coffers of the Exchange Stabilization Fund to help rig the markets. All kinds of, not even rumors anymore, of delivery problems in gold and silver. They don't talk about silver. Right now they're slamming gold because that's in the headlines. The gold delivery days that are coming up, which I talked about. It's actually part of the timeline. So everything's right on the timeline. So if you're a private road member, go to roadtoroot.com, log into the private road, and the timeline article is 2 or 3 down right below the coronagraph, the coronagraph, which is clearly, the timing has changed on that. I went from 6 days in the beginning down to for doubling, 6 days for doubling to 4 days for doubling. And then I changed it to 2. Right now it's about 2.5. So I put it at 3 days in doubling. So yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But let's look at some of the giveaways. Lawmakers in the Trump administration agreed to an agreement on the estimated $2 trillion stimulus package aimed at shielding the U.S. economy from the worst consequences of the coronavirus pandemic. The legislation, which congressional officials were set to continue to write throughout the early morning Wednesday, will provide direct financial checks to many Americans, drastically expanding unemployment insurance, offer hundreds of billions in loans to large and small businesses, and provide healthcare providers with additional resources as the virus spreads. Most small businesses won't even take the time and trouble to apply for loans. because you got to go through the whole process. And this is government. The process isn't even set up for the most part. If you already have a small business loan through the government, yeah, you could probably get fast-tracked and get your money in a couple weeks. For most businesses, they're out of business in a couple weeks. So keep an eye on, quote, this is a wartime level of investment in our nation, said Majority Leader Mitch McConnell in the early hours of Wednesday after the two sides had reached the deal. Quote, the men and women of the greatest country on earth are going to defeat this coronavirus and reclaim our future, and the Senate is going to make sure that they have the ammunition they need to do it. The greatest country on earth would not rig every market. I'm sorry. We lost that title a long time ago. Read Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and you'll just get an idea of what the greatest country on earth has been doing for the past 100 years. Don't get me wrong. I love my country. I want my country back, but they stole it over 100 years ago with the Federal Reserve System and the criminals behind it, rigging every single market to become the greatest country on earth. Founding fathers are rolling in their graves right now. Mitch McConnell said the Senate would move to vote on the massive bill later on Wednesday, setting up a rapid approval of legislation that dwarfs the annual discretionary budget Congress spends much of the year crafting and approving. Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday she hoped to quickly approve the eventual Senate agreement, though objections from lawmakers could slow the process in that chamber. How long will it take to get money in the hands of the people? 2-3 weeks. Where are we after 2 or 3 weeks? We are knee deep in the shit. We're where Italy is right now. Complete lockdown, and people are going to get $1,200 checks. What the hell is that going to do for them? And here's my advice to the humanity. Don't give it to any banker bill paying off your credit card or anything that goes to a bank, your mortgage. There's your advice. Those criminals they belong in jail. Jail, jail, jail. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said he had spoken to the president about the agreement and that Trump would absolutely sign it as it is written today. He's very pleased with the legislation and the impact it's going to have. As written today means this could change on a dime if everybody starts adding their pork or more oversight. I would suggest more oversight over the $500 billion you're giving to Steve Mnuchin. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the bill had been improved substantially since Democrats joined the negotiations. To all Americans, I say, help is on the way. Big help. Quick help. $1,200 is not big help, Chucky. The deal was announced several hours and into the wee hours of the day after a stock market rally up for the ages. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted its largest single day since 1933 on News Tuesday that a deal was coming. Signs of a major injection of cash into the economy appeared to have given investors some solace, as the U.S. reported an uptick in COVID-19 cases and braced for unemployment claims which are reported this week that are expected to have soared. Duh. Days of frantic negotiations on Capitol Hill between Senate Democrats and Republicans in the Trump administration produced an agreement less than a week after the first Mr. McConnell introduced an opening offer. Lawmakers spent the weekend in Washington in days-long marathon sessions to reach a deal. Democrats twice blocked procedural steps as talks continued. While the final terms of the bill, this is my Walter Cronkite voice, while the final terms of the bill remained under wraps early Wednesday, lawmakers had eyed sending one-time checks worth $1,200 to many Americans, with $500 available to children, with the assistance capped above certain income levels. That's $75,000. Those payments would be in addition to a broad expansion in unemployment benefits, which would be extended to non-traditional employees, including gig workers, freelancers, and according to the Democratic aide familiar with the negotiations, the agreement is set to increase current unemployment assistance by $600 a week for 4 months. The Senate is also poised to approve $350 billion in loans to small businesses in an effort to keep America on payrolls as economic activity across the country comes to a standstill. A major challenge in the negotiations was roughly $500 billion in corporate aid. That is the Exchange Stabilization Fund money. That's the rigging money right there. Much of it will go towards backstopping Federal Reserve loans. The Treasury Secretary will have the authority to directly lend a slice of those funds. And Democrats have sought to place controls on the money. The agreement will create a new Inspector General Oversight Board to oversee the aid. Oh, great. Another regulator in charge of rigging markets. Yeah, you can rig the gold and silver market, but don't you dare rig the oil and gas market. We need those prices to go up. It is a con. You are being conned. $500 billion will be leveraged up to $5 trillion, 10 to 1. Mnuchin already said that. $5 trillion will be used to rig the market for a month. And they don't need, the $500 billion won't do it. $20 trillion needs to be put in so they can get $200 trillion. So I guarantee you, here we are, what is it, March 24th, 25th? I guarantee you, by middle of April, they'll be saying, we need a new bailout package. We didn't know it would last this long. How could you not know it would last this long? Here's my expanded growth chart from the private road. Here's where we are. That's where we were yesterday. 54,000 cases, 770 deaths. By mid-April, April 14th, there'll be 6.9 million cases with 98,000 deaths. Do you not think they're going to open the coffers at that point again and spew more money out over the entire world? This is a 1 month deal, my friends. Yeah, Trump's saying, hey, we're going to open things up on April 12th, which would be about 4 million confirmed cases and about 50,000 deaths. You think you're going to really open it up because things are going so well? We will not have hit the peak. So Trump, yeah, there's an interesting article that I read coming out of China. Yes, China, the forgotten country that, by the way, is shipping nothing. Don't read the lies. The lies are, yeah, we're up and running again. As a matter of fact, one of the state-owned news rags, the woman in charge of this coronavirus said, oh my God, it looks like the coronavirus is starting up again in China as we started to allow foreign travelers to come in and they're spreading coronavirus and we have another problem on our hands. China, you crafty little bastard. Just when the U.S. is in the deep of the shit and figuring out how to bail each other out, they're going to go again for another round. This time they might even report real casualty numbers. It's not the 3,000 deaths that they say. Try 300 million. So they're going to go for another round. Keep an eye on it. It's just the early days. Remember, nothing comes out of the official press of China that is not proved for a reason. And this was the head of this woman who's heading up the task force for coronavirus said, we have a problem. It's starting up again. Hang on tight. This is year zero. We're in for 3 to 5 years of the shit, as Cliff says. Absolutely. As no country has an exit strategy, experts warn virus disruptions could last months or years. Michael Levitt, a Nobel laureate, Stanford biophysicist, said earlier this week that COVID-19 pandemic could be nearing an end as he cited China's curve flattening to support his hypothesis. Other experts have said there is no clear endpoint, and the virus could be around for months or even years. So the trillion-dollar question is, who should we believe? One positive step in slowing down the spread is the shutdown of the global economy. Strict social distancing measures, mass quarantines, and travel bans across the world flatten the curve in China, with decelerating cases and deaths seen in Italy, Iran, and South Korea. Then the rest of Europe, with Spain, Germany, France, UK, are all experiencing accelerating cases, and that will likely get worse in the weeks ahead. And the bad news, both the US and India are at the very start of the curve, and things will deteriorate in the weeks ahead before they get better. I showed you guys this JP Morgan curve yesterday. We're right here. We need to get down here before we can even think about taking off these restrictions. But this is a new world, my friends. This is a new world. Remember, even with this bailout, the derivative market is done. Banks are done. Everybody is done. Yes, Steve Mnuchin's going to burn through that $4 trillion in a blink of an eye trying to rig the gold and silver prices. You got to have physical silver. Remember that. And right now, the LBMA is shit out of luck when it comes to the end of month deliveries on gold. They're begging, and I heard they passed last night the change in rules for LBMA deliveries. They can go from 100 ounce bars to 400 ounce bars because they don't have any 100 ounce bars, which is great. Yeah, great for the people taking delivery. But then what are you going to do next month and the month after that? You guys got to get your physical silver in your hand. In your hand. You don't know how to get it? Send an email to Andy at milesfranklin.com. Andy at milesfranklin.com. milesfranklin.com. And buy your silver. He's doing a great job for the Road to Ruta members. He's working his ass off. Best prices out there. Yes, they're way above the quoted silver price of $14.50 or whatever it is right now. Because that's not a real price. That's the con. So get what you can. Andy will help you out. All right. Where we are right now with coronavirus, let's do a little refresh because this changes every time I take a breath. The United States is at 55,081 cases, 785 deaths. That means in 2.5 days we'll be at 110,000 cases. Oh, all of a sudden the numbers are getting real, huh? Remember, 36,000. Wait, I take that back. The average influenza deaths every year in the U.S. is about 36,000. People keep saying, come on, man, the coronavirus is nothing compared to the regular flu. 36,000, right? This year there's 50 so far. 50,000. How many of those are coronavirus? Probably at least more than the 36. So it's 14,000. You can add 14,000 to those USA deaths, by the way. But that's not what I'm scared of and should be scared of, and you should be scared of too, is that when will we hit 36,000? By April 10th, we're going to hit 36,000 and blow past it. And remember, the doubling kicks in. So 2 weeks after that, say April 26th, we're at 1.5 million deaths. Unless we do something instantly. Now, what Trump administration has been doing is pretty good. But a lot of people aren't taking it seriously. And that's going to be bad. So I do think everybody will end up getting it. That's why I've been screaming. Cliff High has been screaming about getting your vitamin C going big time because you're going to get it. Many of us probably have it right now. We don't know. I saw Ben coughing on a show the other day. He said, no, it's not coronavirus. You don't know, Ben? Nobody knows if they have it or not. But when you start feeling sick and start feeling ill over the couple days, you think, oh, shit, I had it 3 or 4 days ago. I think it's 6 days incubation period and can be up to 20 days. Where you don't show any symptoms and all of a sudden, bang, you've got it. Well, you've had it the whole time. Right now, there's millions of people infected in the United States. These are just the people that have been tested. And then, according to my chart, I think around April 5th or so, they're going to start lying about the numbers, which is a problem. Because our government is lying. They lie about everything. So I have no doubt Trump will start demanding the CDC lie about the numbers. All these numbers are reported into the CDC. What is it? CDC. The CDC for tabulation. And then they release the numbers. They're going to lie, which means people are going to start going outside again, and then more people will die. Yes, do I have a problem with Trump these days? Absolutely. Market rigging and lying. You cannot lie in something like this. So, anyway, hang on tight, my friends. You want to know how I think it's all going to go down? Go to the Friday road trip. I got year zero updates. I do just about daily. And then I have the on the private road membership. I have the timeline. The fourth one down. So I got year zero repo updates, which I have to do later in the day now because they add so many new repo updates. We're well over 1.5 trillion on the repos. And I said by the end of March, they're going to skyrocket. Wait for the last few days of March. We're going to hit 2 trillion plus, and it's going to get really scary. And then the coronagraph and the Satoshi remote viewing. You want to know who Satoshi Nakamoto is? It's right there. It's Bix Weir, roadtour.com. Talk to you later.